In this tactical analysis, we will decipher the reason behind Barcelona's trashing in the hands of Bayern Munich. Hansi Flick opted to go with the same formation and lineup that the gaffer fielded in the second leg of the round of 16 against Chelsea. A 4-2-3-1 formation. Alphonso Davies and Joshua Kimmich assumed their usual positions on either side of David Alaba and Jerome Boateng. Thiago Alcantara and Leon acted as the double pivot. Thomas Muller started behind Lewandowski and on either side of the prolific Serge Gnabry and the experienced Ivan Perisic. Kicker lined up his side in a 4-4-2 block, with Messi and Suarez leading the attack. Out of possession, Barcelona defended in a flat block, with Messi and Suarez leading the press. Messi and Suarez were ineffective and hardly put any pressure on the ball carrier. The central midfielders Busquets and De Jong failed to control the spaces in the midfield as well. So with no pressure by the forwards, the poorly controlled midfield, and the huge distance between these lines, Alaba constantly played passes beyond the second line of defense. In the same vein, with no pressure from the front two, Messi and Suarez, Boateng was able to operate in a huge space and with a lot of time. He usually had two easy options of the dropping the ball to Lewandowski or Davies wide on the left flank. In this instance, Boateng opts for the second option as Barcelona, preferring to stay compact, left too much space on the flanks. The switch from Boateng to Davies created a 2-on-1 situation for the right-back Semedo. With Bayern constantly opting for the Boateng-Davies combination, Semedo started to drift a bit wide to prevent the switch in play. That created a 4-against-3 situation around Barcelona's last line of defense. See how easy Alcantara opted for Kimmich. Bayern did not have to work hard to build up their play as they capitalized on Barcelona's structure. See Busquets preferring to move a bit up to cover Alcantara with Vidal pressing Kimmich. Unfortunately, this left Barcelona too open in the midfield region, with Gorkan unmarked and Muller and Lewandowski creating a 2-on-1 situation with De Jong. With Bayern realizing the spaces in the midfield, they began to build their play along that part too. See how Gorka pushed up and positioned himself in between the lines to receive a ball from Alcantara. This created a 5-on-4 situation with Barcelona defenders and a 2-on-1 with Lenglet. Bayern is tremendous in creating space for one another. As one creates the space, the other exploits the space. This situation demonstrates how Muller and Lewandowski created space for Gorka. As Muller drags out Lenglet from his position and passes the ball back to Kimmich, Leo's Piqué out from his position, creating space for Gorka, who makes a run into the created space from behind Vidal. In the initial 15 minutes, Bayern kept a very high line and distance between the lines a bare minimum. They looked to keep the central corridors compact. Due to this compact structure, Barcelona had huge spaces to exploit on the flanks. Here, Piqué had easy access to Semedo. However, the Spaniards' pass wasn't perfect and Barcelona couldn't create any dangerous situation. Bayern opted for a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-2-3-1 structure depending on the dynamics of the game. They looked to be more inclined towards the right flank with the intention of preventing the more dangerous Alba on the right flank. Bayern's biggest nightmare came true when Lenglet found Alba's marauding run behind Kimmich, and the immediate aftermath resulted in the goal for Barcelona. Barcelona were constantly given such opportunities by Bayern to exploit their flanks. In a similar situation, Bayern pressed with 4-2-3-1, with the Barcelona midfielders man-marked and Goretzka protecting the defense. Semedo was again left with a huge space on the flank. A pass from Lenglet to Semedo would have surely put Bayern in huge trouble. However, the pass from the French defender was poor and it was easily intercepted. With Lenglet's lost confidence in switching the play, he opted for shorter passes in the central corridors to progress the play and played into Bayern's hands. Bayern tormented Barcelona with their high press, making Ter Stegen, who is so confident and efficient on the ball, look like a puppet. The Bavarians forced Ter Stegen to pass the ball where they wanted him to pass, thereby killing Barcelona's build-up. In possession, Barcelona looked to build up from the goalkeeper with a 4-3-3 structure rather than the flat 4-4-2. The initial structure of Bayern when Barcelona had a goal kick will look like this. Lewandowski would mark the pivot, Müller and Goretzka would follow the other Barcelona midfielders, and Alcantara would position himself in front of the defenders to prevent any Barcelona players dropping deep and opening up a passing lane. In this in-game shot, we see Ter Stegen pass the ball to Piqué and set Bayern's pressing trigger. With Gnabry pressing the Spaniard, Piqué had to return the ball back to the keeper. Gnabry, however, continued his run with an outward to inward movement, trying to cover Piqué as well as Semedo to a certain extent. Davis was in close proximity to Semedo and can press the Portuguese with his pace immediately if Ter Stegen opted to loft the ball for the right back. Barcelona did manage to break Bayern's press only once, and that led to the second goal, as Bayern looked to have switched off for a moment. The goal came with a tweak in Barcelona's formation in the second half. With Griezmann in place of Roberto, Barcelona switched to a 4-2-1-3 formation when playing out from the goalkeeper. After conceding the goal, Bayern soon buckled up and devised an easy strategy to mark Barcelona once again. The wingers did their usual duty, as Müller and Lewandowski now had the task of marking the double pivot of Barcelona. Goretzka followed the dropping attacking player, Messi. Bayern's space-orientated pressing created a lot of opportunities for pressing trap on both the flanks as well as the central corridors. Hansi preferred his wingers to position themselves in between the two Barcelona players in order to trap the opposition in the flanks. Bayern's pressing structure looks to force the opposition out wide, but even if the opposition looks to play through the central corridors, the Bavarians' pressing mechanism created a pressing trap in the central corridor too. When the ball was forced out wide, Perisic immediately pressed Semedo, Goretzka looked to cut the immediate passing lane, and Müller cut the passing lane to Piqué. Semedo had no passing lane to play the ball, and Bayern recovered the ball immediately. Here, Ter Stegen found a passing lane in the form of the Jong. Once the Jong receives the ball, Goretzka pounces onto him. Lewandowski joins the press to help out his fellow teammate. Perisic cuts the passing lane to Lenglet, and Alcantara cuts the passing lane to Roberto. Goretzka's aggressive pressing and his body orientation makes it difficult for the Barcelona midfielder to turn away and pass the ball to Alba on the flank. This resulted in a Barcelona turnover. Even when the opposition looked to have found the method to bypass the passing trap, the Bavarians turned the disadvantage into an advantage. Here, Müller had two midfielders to cover. But he intentionally opened up the passing lane to the Jong and blocked that to Busquets. Once the ball was played to the Jong, Perisic made an outward to inward movement blocking the passing lane to Alba. Goretzka immediately marked Busquets, and the two strikers partially blocked the passing lane to the centre-backs. Bayern's space-orientated pressing created a lot of opportunities for pressing trap on both the flanks as well as the central corridors. Hansi preferred his wingers to position themselves in between the two Barcelona players in order to trap the opposition in the flanks. Bayern's pressing structure looks to force the opposition out wide, but even if the opposition looks to play through the central corridors, the Bavarians' pressing mechanism created a pressing trap in the central corridor too. When the ball was forced out wide, Perisic immediately pressed Semedo, Goretzka looked to cut the immediate passing lane, and Müller cut the passing lane to Piqué. Semedo had no passing lane to play the ball, and Bayern recovered the ball immediately. Here, Ter Stegen found a passing lane in the form of the Jong. Once the Jong receives the ball, Goretzka pounces onto him. Lewandowski joins the press to help out his fellow teammate. Perisic cuts the passing lane to Lenglet, and Alcantara cuts the passing lane to Roberto. Goretzka's aggressive pressing and his body orientation makes it difficult for the Barcelona midfielder to turn away and pass the ball to Alba on the flank. This resulted in a Barcelona turnover. Even when the opposition looked to have found the method to bypass the passing trap, the Bavarians turned the disadvantage into an advantage. Here, Müller had two midfielders to cover. But he intentionally opened up the passing lane to De Jong and blocked that to Busquets. Once the ball was played to De Jong, Perisic made an outward-to-inward movement blocking the passing lane to Alba. Goretzka immediately marked Busquets and the two strikers partially blocked the passing lane to the centre-backs. There was no beating Bayern on this day because they had mastered the art of pressing. Barcelona did not only lose to Bayern's exquisite pressing but at every department. Bayern and Barcelona both overloaded the last line of defense. But the structure of Bayern was such that once the Bavarians lost the ball, they overloaded the Barcelona ball carrier with numbers immediately, and when Barcelona lost the ball, they created spaces and pressed hard. Here, Gnabry lost the ball. See how the Barcelona ball carrier was overloaded with Goretzka and Perisic. Bayern had been so aggression and efficiency in their pressing and counter-pressing throughout the game. Here, Perisic's cross was intercepted by a Barcelona player. Once he played a short pass to his teammate, two Bayern players immediately looked to pounce on him and other players looked to cut the passing lanes. When we look at Barcelona's counter-press, there is a stark contrast. The Barcelona players are so dispersed, it's impossible for them to counter-press with numbers. In this case, Bayern had a 3-on-2 overload on two Barcelona midfielders. Once Bayern won back the ball, the Bavarians started the counter-attack through Gnabry and scored their first goal for the night. The stark difference is visible in the stats itself. Bayern Munich have recovered 44 times in the final third and the middle third, whereas Barcelona recovered a mere 21. What do you think of this game? Tell us your opinion in the comment section. What do you think we should do differently? Do not forget to like and share this video. Also subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be notified of our next upload. Thank you.